Thank you. In Commitment 2024, all eyes are on South Carolina today as the state holds the first in the South Republican primary.
Polling sites are now open this morning. They opened just about 4 minutes ago. Our Peyton Furtado joins us live in Greenville to tell us more about voter turnout in the upstate. Good morning, Peyton.
Good morning, Sydney. Yeah, if you haven't voted and you plan on voting in the South Carolina Republican primary, today is your day to do it. I'm going to step out of the way. You can't see a crazy amount with me, but I want you to see at least what we can see. We have a few early risers just making their way into the parking lot here at Beck Academy. This is a polling place close to the Lawrence Road Verde area. As we were heading over to do this live shot, we saw about 5-6 people in line waiting to get in, braving the cold to try to make sure that their vote was heard today. Now, just a reminder, if you are voting today, you got to bring your photo ID. You've got to make sure, if you're voting today, that you did not vote in the South Carolina Democratic primary. You're not allowed to vote in both of those primaries. A few things to look out for. There are going to be people on the ballot today who have dropped out of the race. Vivek Ramaswamy, Chris Christie, I believe Ron DeSantis will also be on that ballot. They are no longer running. There are going to be 4 people on the ballot today. That is former President Donald Trump, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley. We've also got businessmen Ryan Binkley and David Stuckenberg. I just spoke with one woman who is braving the cold, waiting in line to get in today. She says she's going on vacation the rest of the weekend, but she really wanted to make sure her vote counted. She was going to vote for former President Donald Trump. She says she's doing that because she wants a change. We're going to have more on all of this throughout the morning and the evening, but for now, live in Greenville County, I'm Peyton Furtado, WYFF News 4.
Peyton, thank you. Today's primary in South Carolina is the latest head-to-head in the GOP presidential contest.
Our Washington correspondent Christopher Salas is in Columbia with more about what to expect.
We're in Columbia, South Carolina, where tonight the polls will close in this state's primary contest. The 2 major candidates that remain, former President Donald Trump and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. Trump is expected to carry South Carolina. It would be his 4th state he's won in this primary process, really laying the foundation for his 3rd straight Republican presidential nomination. Haley, she's looking to cut some of Trump's momentum here in her home state, where she was also the governor. Now, South Carolina is a truly open primary, and that's important to note because that means independents and Democrats can vote in the GOP contest. And Haley's looking to lean on some of those non-GOP voters in order for her to remain competitive in this race. Haley has said, regardless of what happens tonight, she's sticking through at least until Super Tuesday, when another 15 states cast their ballots. Of course, we're covering all of it. We'll bring you the latest later tonight. In Columbia, South Carolina, I'm Christopher Salas.
Both former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley and former President Donald Trump are in South Carolina trying to reach voters before polls close today.
Nikki Haley's last stop of the day yesterday was in Mount Pleasant. She addressed her supporters during a rally at Patriots Point. She was firm in saying that while Donald Trump was president, he led the country further into debt.
And for the first time, we're paying more money in interest than we are in our defense budget. You know who's paying attention to that? Russia, China, and Iran. Something's got to give. And I would love to tell you that Joe Biden did that to us. And he's sending us down this socialism creep that we have to stop. But the truth is, our Republicans did that to us too. Out of the $34 trillion in debt, Donald Trump put us $8 trillion in debt in just 4 years.
Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump spent time yesterday speaking to voters in Rock Hill and Columbia, and he touched on several topics, including a recent ruling in Alabama over IVF.
I strongly support the availability of IVF for couples who are trying to have a precious little beautiful baby. I support it. And today I'm calling on the Alabama legislature to act quickly to find an immediate solution.
After leaving Rock Hill, the former president delivered remarks at a gala in Columbia.
The South Carolina Election Commission says thousands of people took advantage of the early voting period ahead of today's primary. More than 200,000 votes were cast between February 12th and 22nd. In Greenville County, more than 23,000 people voted early. In Spartanburg County, more than 11,000 votes were cast, while in Anderson County, more than 4,000 people have already been to the polls. In comparison, the Democratic primary saw more than 48,000 early votes. And a reminder for you this morning, WYFF News 4 is your home for Commitment 2024 coverage. Right now on our website, WYFF4.com, and on our mobile app, we have a voter's guide with a ballot explainer and all the information you need if you're planning to cast your vote today.